Good morning. Good morning. Oh, good morning, everybody. Morning, Donna. Yeah, what a gorgeous morning it is here too. Debbie, yes, good morning. Awesome blood red moon this morning. Yeah, if you follow me on Instagram, you'll see on my Insta stories this morning, just an amazing morning. I went up to there's a hill not far from us where I got an incredible view of the whole thing this morning. So it was really spectacular. Morning, Louise. Lovely to have you here. I hope everybody's really kind of embracing this energy. Kathy, good morning from England. Lovely to have you. Lovely to have you. And I hear you're having spectacular weather in England at the moment. It's making our news actually here. So I hope you're... Hey, Stacey, good morning. Oh, lovely to speak to you. Oh, I'm so glad you're here. How lovely. Thank you for joining us this morning. Yeah, it's just great energy this morning. I woke up at 4 o'clock. Tracy, good morning. Lovely to have you here. Oh, isn't this lovely? How lovely, everybody. So lovely to have you here. It must be the full moon and the blood moon energy. Yeah, I woke up four this morning, could just feel the energy. It was the light was in the room, was the moon. So let me know if you saw the little bit of the eclipse this morning. As I said, if you're not already following me on Instagram, my Insta story's full of it because I was up on this hill in the dark by myself, by the way. A bit scary. But anyway, it was lovely to watch the moon go kind of blood red on one side and watch the dawn come up in the other. How are you all this morning? Let me know how you're doing where you are. I would really want to get into this today, and it's all about how to find the courage to keep going when things are kind of overwhelming you. So as we go through this today, just let me know how you're feeling about it, any comments you have, because I think this is the thing, we often hear from people, they'll say, oh, I've failed numerous times and then it was a huge success. But what we don't actually talk about is what happens at that moment. What happens at that moment when it's overwhelming you? It's that, that pain in your heart when the betrayal becomes, you become aware of the betrayal when you've been working on a project for ages and it hasn't been successful, or just disappointment that something you were really working on didn't happen. Because it's that right in that very moment, the story you tell yourself right there and then is how your future is going to pan out, because we're constantly telling ourselves stories. So we're going to talk today about, how to lean in to the self-doubt and rejection and fear. And I'm going to share a personal story of mine, how I did it, and what I've come and found out and figured out. The worst things you can say to yourself in those moments, and why you have to stop saying them right now. I'm going to share honestly why tapping wasn't the solution for me at this time, which was really a big aha moment for me, and the exact steps. So I'm going to go through the exact steps. So what I want to just really kind of be about today is about, opening up the conversation, because I'm actually reading Brene Brown's new book at the moment, Rising Strong. And if you haven't read it, I would, I get it. It's really powerful. And this is what she talks about. And it's one of those things when I'm reading the book, go, God, I could write that. Oh my God, I could have written that. Oh my God, that's exactly what I've been going through. Oh my God, I know exactly what she's talking about. It was just one of those things that I could see. So if you haven't read it, or listen to her chatting with Oprah on Super Soul Sunday, very powerful. We're talking about rising strong. So how do we rise strong? Okay, so this is what we're talking about, and I'm going to kind of share a little bit about my story. One of the things that happens, of course, is that when something happens to us, we go into self-doubt, rejection, fear. So something rising strong. Yeah, great, fantastic. Leaning into it's going to help you uncover the story. Now, our brains are wired to stay comfortable. They don't like discomfort. So whenever you are feeling that feeling of failure or overwhelm, or you're feeling kind of dejected, that moment when oh, really? I was counting on that, or I can't believe that happened, or I was so focused on it. In that moment, the emotion that you feel right then and there, your brain's going to go find any way it can to get you out of it. Now, whatever your normal go-to is to overcome that discomfort, whether that be put it in a box and forget about it, whether that be go into the pantry and grab a packet of chips or, chocolate or a glass of wine or four, or whether you just, push that out into others. Sometimes we do that. If we're feeling hurt, we'll push the hurt back on others. We'll yell at the kids, or we'll slam the doors, or we'll say things that we shouldn't say to others, because we're trying to push that pain away. So the brain is wired not to allow you to feel that, but it's giving ourselves permission to feel that emotion at that time that holds the gift. It holds for you the reason. Oh, sorry, hitting my desk here. It holds for you the reason that you can overcome it, and you can overcome the story. Because, when we set ourselves up and we feel like when something doesn't work, immediately we can go, oh, that always happens. I knew that had happened. There I go again. I failed again. There I go again. Nothing ever works out for me. Right there, you go back into that story, because in that emotional time, our brain says, okay, you're an idiot. Oh, you failed again. And so that's what we're going to. That's what we go to. So it's being able to lean into that, to be able to say, you know what, right now, right at this very moment, I'm really angry. I'm angry, or I'm hurt. I feel rejected. I feel self-doubt. This has happened over and over again. But it's the next question you ask yourself, the very next question you ask yourself, that will determine. The next question to ask is, what's really going on for me? Right there. What's really going on for me? Now, here's where the challenge arises. The worst thing you can say to yourself, and I've got some pet ones, and you might too, let me know, is when people try and make you feel better, and they'll say things like, it is what it is. Oh, that gets to me. Or it wasn't meant to be, or life's a bitch, or that's part of life, or, those kind of motherhood statements that don't make you feel any better. All it does is put that emotion in a box. Oh, yeah, that's right. It is what it is. Nothing I can do about it. Well, you always have the opportunity to do something about it. But it's in that moment. I feel really angry. I feel really hurt. I feel really frustrated. What's going on for me? Those two powerful questions. Don't go to a motherhood statement. It is what it is. Don't do that. You need to stop saying those things right now. Because in that moment of emotion, and in that moment of feeling, is where you're going to find the pattern. It's where you're going to find the strength. The other part of this is to find somebody you can talk to that will listen without judgment. I'm really fortunate. I have 2 accountability partners, and they're just masters. Morning, Elle. They're real masters, and we all are with each other, of not going to the motherhood statement. So when we're going through stuff, I can get on the phone with my accountability partners. Can I just talk this through with you? And we've all learned. I said, did you? It is what it is. I know. It just rolls off our tongue. But no, it's not what it is. Good grief. Remember, you always have 100% responsibility for things that happen in your life, or at the very least 100% responsibility for how you're going to respond. So in that moment where it happens, it's where you're most powerful. And as I said, I have these 2 accountability partners. We've been doing this now for 2 years. We've been partners for 2 years. And they will occasionally throw in the, oh, that sucks comment. That really sucks. That kind of, But what we've managed to do in our there's three of us, what we've managed to do is to be there and to understand, to listen without judgment. Now, every now and then, because we're always sharing our goals and intentions, they're able to say to me, I just got a feeling you're off track. I've got a feeling that when you set your intention back in January and this has happened now, I've got a feeling those two don't align. And for me, that's the most powerful thing, is to go, oh, hold on a minute. That's right. That wasn't exactly what I wanted. So, because when you have that moment of disappointment, moment of failure, moment of betrayal, whatever, you will always find in that space there has been aha moments along the way, taps on the shoulder, intuitive thoughts, but sometimes we keep pushing. I had a situation with my daughter this week when this is why this Facebook Live is happening today, because it was working through some stuff with her, where she put a big pitch in for a new idea at her organisation, and had been given kind of all the way along indications that it was okay till last week when they said no. And it was in that moment to allow her to go into the pain, the disappointment, and then we step it back. Okay, is this really what you want? Now, what's interesting that came out of it was that when she went, after we'd gone through the pain, gone through the feeling, had a bit of a cry, all that stuff, slammed a few doors, after that was going, you know what, this actually wasn't what I really wanted. It was close, but it wasn't what I really wanted. So when that happens, when you find that moment of disappointment or betrayal or anything else, look at how it's aligning with who you are, and look at how it's aligning with what you truly want. And as I said, when it comes to some things, you'll have seen the taps on the shoulders all the way along. You'll have seen the intuitive stuff all the way along, but we tend to overlook it. I'm going to share the reason why in just a moment. Now, what you say to yourself then about how you manage this is really important. We have a tendency in our story to go to things like I am. So I'm a failure. I don't deserve. I'm not good at this. I never get what I want. Again, very careful about what you're saying there, because when this happens, it's something that's happened. It's not about you. It's not your story. Remember, this is all about the story you tell yourself. What I found at this point is why tapping didn't work for me was that it was taking the edge off the emotion for me. While it gave me some clarity, what I really needed to do when I went through it myself earlier on this year was that I needed to give myself permission to feel the emotion, as uncomfortable as it was. The same with my daughter. I needed to give her permission. It's okay to be angry right now and disappointed. Go to that. Where does it feel like? What does it feel? Because it's an emotion. It's not who you are. It's an emotion. So be careful of the story you then tell yourself. And tapping for me wasn't the solution. That it helped take the edge off it, but it wasn't what I needed to do most of all. Because when it happened to me, when I went through this incredible feelings of betrayal and something didn't work out that I really wanted, I needed to get through it. I needed to honor my feelings through it. Because when I allowed myself to cry, and when I allowed myself to go through this, as I got deep into the emotion, deep into the emotion, and started to really write about it, write about the story, write about how I was feeling, I gave myself real clarity. I was able to look at it, look at what I was writing. And as I was journaling through this process, I began to see the recurrences coming up, what I was saying to myself. I was saying to myself, well, here we go again. I'm a failure. Nothing is ever going to work for me. Maybe I'm just wrong. Maybe I'm on the wrong path. Those were because I was writing them down, I could actually look at it and see it and go, whoa, hold on. What's that story I'm telling myself? Now, during the time it happened for me, I'm going to share with you now the points. Let me what you do. Okay. What I did. So first of all, when it happened, this incredible, was a really painful time, a betrayal. And I wrote, cried a lot. It really impacted me. I got to say, honestly, it really impacted me. Like nothing has impacted me before, so I thought. But I allowed myself to feel the sadness and the anger, but with no judgment. Okay, I just wrote. I wrote my journal. I think I looked at my journal. I don't know, 40 pages long. I think during that time period when I was just writing how I felt. And when I looked at it, I'm thinking, look at the stuff I'm telling myself. As I got through the emotion. I meditated every day. Sometimes the days were really tough, but I have my favorite Joe Dispenza meditation, which is all about visualization. So that was really important to me. And every time I'd slip into the story, I'd pull myself. You know how you start thinking about something that happens, and then you go down and you're down into that, and you're starting to think about it, and it's just it just overwhelms you. You know that feeling where you can't get out of your mind, just going over and over and over again. So every time that happened, I'd write in my journal. I did a little bit of tapping, but I wanted to really feel this. And every time I started to slip into the story, what I challenged myself to do was to say over and over again, what do I need to see here? What's the story I've been telling myself? And my favorite, there's something I need to see here. I don't know what it is, but I'm ready now. I'm ready to see this. And boy, those days were long. It was a constant battle in my mind, going back and forth of, I went through if it hadn't happened, this was was already down the track. If that hadn't happened, I was already going to be here. If that hadn't happened, this would have happened. If that hadn't happened, I'd be doing this now. I really went down that path. And so I had to pull back. I had to constantly pull back, constantly write. Every time I slip into that story, what do I need to see here? What am I not seeing yet? There's something I need to see here. The next thing I did was really challenge myself to live in the present moment. Okay, so one is feeling the emotion, but I chose to live in the present moment. I pulled out my word. I encourage my clients always to have a word of the year. So I pulled out my word. As it turns out, my word is limitless for 2018. And it's when I expanded on the first one, I decided to live purposefully, love unconditionally. And when I added that love unconditionally, that was for me. I needed to love myself unconditionally from right here on in. I was in pain, and I needed to turn that love into me and laugh often. So the first L word, limitless, was live purposely, love unconditionally, love me unconditionally, and laugh often. So I started to look at ways I could do that. So I happened to be in Melbourne at the time with my sisters, and so I spent a lot of time with them, and we started talking about old stories and old memories and laughing, and we bought good champagne, and we talked about funny things that happened when we were kids. So I reached out to my sisters to help me laugh through this time, to remember the joyous times, and that I found really helped to just laugh a lot, to go back to that space where I could find the joy. The next thing was, and we talked about this a lot last week, was forgiveness. I needed to forgive that other person and me at the same time for all the taps on the shoulder, all the intuitive things I didn't see in this time. To forgive myself for not listening to my intuition, for avoiding difficult conversations, and above all, when I got to the bottom of all of this, I realized my pattern was I didn't value myself. I had a lot, I didn't think I did. I thought I valued myself, but I didn't. Because I allowed this to happen. And when it happened, I then went into self-doubt and criticizing myself. I wasn't valuing myself. The bottom line, that's what it got to. So here's what I did next. And I have to tell you, this has been so powerful, because it was like I began to tell myself I was worthy and valuable. I started to look at ways that I could value and honor myself. I started getting my nails done regularly, having manicures regularly, because I like that look, and I do a lot with my hands. And I thought, you know what, I'm going to do this all the time. I really enjoy it. I started to grow my hair because I wanted to feel the more feminine energy. I wanted that feminine energy to flow. I decluttered my closets. I went through my closets and I pulled out anything that I didn't absolutely love, that made me absolutely look amazing, and that I just didn't kind of like anymore. I just went through the whole thing. I got rid of shoes and handbags and clothes I've been hanging on to, and just in case. And you know what happens when you do that? You leave space for other things to come into your life. I started to see clothes that I really do like, and at prices that I was willing to pay for. I gave myself lots of facials. I now have a Friday night for me is a real self-care night for me. I have essential oils bath. I give myself a mud mask. I ran lots of Epsom salts baths. I really decided that I was going to, even though I was feeling still at this point really kind of down, I chose to let the world know, myself, my inner self, the universe, whoever it was, know that I truly valued myself, that I was going to honor and value me. So decluttered my closet, started to look after myself, manicures, pedicures, even if it meant giving them myself, I just made a decision to only listen to inspirational books and podcasts. I stopped watching the news. I stopped listening to the radio. I started to only listen to my walk in the mornings. I'm only listening to inspirational podcasts, my audiobooks. I started to read more inspirational audiobooks. I spent a lot of time working on my intentions. I really decided to get really clear on my intentions. I started to map out strategies by getting rid of things out of my life and saying no to people that didn't feel right. Everything was always about value and worth. Now, I was still dealing with, let me tell you, I was still dealing with the hurt, still dealing with the anger. It was still coming up for me. I tapped a little bit, but this was just, I needed to put it out there. The decluttering, I needed to put out there, I'm a valuable and worthy person. I honor and value myself. I realized that for much of my time, I could easily shift into the wrong lane and start to look at what other people were doing instead of being really focused on my own. But the moment I did that, over months period, what started to happen was things started to happen. Opportunities started to present themselves. I started to get the radio interviews, more and more of them. And the radio guys asked me to come back. I started to get opportunities to do speaking engagements. I started to attract different types of clients. And what was really interesting is as I put out this kind of work, the inner work, the value, that things started to change. And it wasn't overnight. It didn't happen overnight. But what it did was I started to look at myself differently. I started to look at things differently. I started to honor myself more. And when I did that, the magic continued to happen. So let's go back over these points again. In those moments of disappointment, betrayal, rejection, allow yourself to feel the feeling. Lovely, Jen. Oh, I love this. Let's just copy this up. Looking at what other people are doing is a huge mistake many of us fall into and lose track of our own agenda. Hallelujah. We can stop it. We can stop right there. It is so true, Janet. And I do that very easily. And I always remember somebody once saying to me, and I can't remember who it was now, it might have been something I read, you never know what's going on in somebody else's head. You never know. You only know what's going on in your head. We only see the outside for everybody. It was really interesting, when I was going through this really tough time, how incredibly supportive my accountability partners were during this time. You have to have somebody that you can speak to. You've got to have somebody that is there for you. You've got to have somebody who you can reach out to and who will have no judgment, but will be able to ask you the difficult questions. Not say, oh, you'll be okay. Oh, it wasn't meant to be. Right now, I'm feeling hurt and pissed, and I don't want to know about it. I don't want anybody telling me if life's going to be good after this. Right now, I just need to feel this. We've got to give ourselves permission to feel it. But be very careful of the story you're telling yourself. Remember, it's the story you're telling yourself right then and there that's going to make the huge difference. You're having a bad moment, not a bad life. Lean into it. Write down what you're saying to yourself. Get it out so you can go back and look at it. You know, I look back on some of those things I was writing in my journal at that time. I can't believe the things I was saying to myself. I honestly can't. I didn't realize that that's what I was saying. You know, I didn't realize this always happens to me. It's not fair. Life sucks. This is, you know, everybody's a bitch, blah, blah. Like I was just really, and you know, when you get it out and you look at it, it gives you some clarity on it. Remember, your brain's always going to go to, you know, keeping you safe and making you want to feel good. Be careful of the words you're saying, and be careful of the words you're saying to other people when they're going through it. Be careful. It just rolls at us. We want other people to feel good. And you know, when my daughter went through this thing this week, there was a part of me that wanted to go, oh, honey, it'll be okay. You know, honey, what? Like I wanted to do that because as mothers, that's what we want to do. And friends, we want to make people feel good, but we can't go there. So my accountability partner was really, really powerful at that point. Yeah. Isn't that right, Tracy? We make these judgments about people. I'm just going to pop that up again, what Tracy just said. The people I thought had altogether had a fabulous life. In fact, it didn't have some awful stuff going on and made me feel very sorry for them. I know, we don't see it. We just assume when we're in the doldrums that no one else is going there and everybody else has got this great life. In fact, you know, oftentimes they're not. And it's really, I know in the work that I do and the amazing women I work with, that happens all the time. You know, that happens all the time. So be mindful we're all going through stuff usually, and that at that moment, be careful what you say to yourself and be careful what you say to others. So if you can find that person who can listen to you and ask you the difficult questions, what's really going on? As I said, my accountability partner was phenomenal during that time by saying, you know, just go back and look at your intentions. Yeah, Donna, exactly. Due to people showing what they want us to perceive, everything is about perception. Exactly. It's all got to look good on social media, doesn't it? Got to look good on Facebook. And, you know, we need more authenticity in this world. And a lot of that authenticity comes from truth. I got a fabulous contract this week to do a speaking gig in Auckland in September on women in leadership. And it's really interesting. I'm so excited to be doing this. Number one, and the research I'm doing is incredible that we make assumptions about women in leadership. So I can't wait to deliver this keynote. Very powerful stuff. Yeah, Facebook does have a lot to answer for, Deb. I absolutely agree with you. And you know, the thing is, I am so grateful that my children are older now. I really do feel for parents who are going to have to navigate this with their teens and tweens right now. And one of my clients, Libby Want, is launching a new program called Fit Feelings, where she's going to actually probably get her on a live one of these days. She's working with kids to help build their feelings, their confident feelings at an early age. Really powerful work she's doing, really important work, but I really do feel for parents with teenage. Oh, I watched something the other day where some girl was complaining about her eyebrows. Couldn't get her eyebrows right. What? Since when did eyebrows become a thing? I just got giggling through it. Eyebrows. Where did that become? Anyway, but you know, I really feel so. But you know, always this is where we're treading the boards. I think, you know, yeah, it is a disconnect from reality. It is, you know, and amazing this week. Did you see, I'm getting off track again, but did you see Facebook's huge drop in value? Interesting stuff going on. Interesting times we're living in. Yeah. Too many think of it as a publicity site and a connection site for authenticity. Absolutely. And I've said this before, being authentic on Facebook can be really difficult because you have to be brave, courageous. And, during this time for me, it was really interesting. A lot of stuff came up for me about my age, which I didn't realize was sitting underneath a lot of stuff for me. So our age and what we do, all that stuff. Okay, it's back on track. So here we go. Lean into it. Find someone you can talk to. Journal. Get this stuff out and write it down so you can look at what you are telling yourself. Have a look at it. Look at how you can honor and value yourself. I've just finished reading Denise Duffield Thomas's book, her new one, and she talks a lot about value, a lot about doing things to increase your belief in your value. It's real self-care, and I've got something exciting coming in September that I'm going to be talking about on next week's Facebook Live. Valuing yourself. How can you value yourself? Look in your closet right now, and does the stuff hanging in your wardrobe reflect who you want to be? Does it reflect that you are valuable and worthy? Does it reflect all that? Oh, lost connection. Is everybody else still on? I hope I'm still here. Telling me I'm on. All right. Okay. So let me tell you. So if you want to have a look and catch up on any of the past Facebook Lives, head over to my website, sallythibault.com.au. If you are struggling, you're still there, great, with anything in your life and you want to have a chat with me, please send me an email. Great, everybody else is good, thank you, must have been yours, Deb. If you want to continue the conversation, let me know. Reach out, have a chat. You're back, good, Deb, thanks. So anybody want to share anything, any insights today? Just let me know. I want you this week, I'm not going to do a tapping session this week, because what I want you to do this week is I really want you to start journaling. If you are going through something at the moment, it hasn't worked out, disappointment, rejection, betrayal, whatever it is, pull out that journal. Start writing about it. Be honest with how you really feel. Give yourself permission to be courageous. But if it's really overwhelming, message me, okay? High five you, Louise. Yes. No. Full stop. Complete sentence. No. Thank you. No. Full stop. Complete sentence. Really courageous. Look at where you can be courageously authentic. We talked about that a couple of weeks ago on the Facebook Live, courageously authentic. Give yourself permission to go through this and give your kids permission to go through it. I put my hand up and say, I've been guilty of this where, when my kids have felt failure of some description or disappointed or heartbreak or the girls are mean or whatever, I've gone straight to trying to make them feel better. And I recognize that now. Yep, absolutely, Helen. Great quote. Yep. Great to have permission to look after yourself. Yes. Oh, look, I got to tell you, my Friday nights now, I just love. I've got this real thing happening. Jerry watches the football. Woohoo! He's got the remote control downstairs, and I'm like upstairs. Tracy, yeah. Write it down, Tracy. Write it down. You wouldn't tell yourself, you wouldn't say that to your children. We sell ourselves. Interesting, isn't it? Got to get it out of heads. But yeah, I go upstairs. I've got the essential oils bath. I've got the mud mask happening. I've got an essential oils treatment in my hair, a glass of champagne, and I watch something I want to watch on Netflix. I watched a great documentary yesterday called Iris, 93 years old, and it was so good to watch. And that's my self-care now. And And to me, I just look forward to how I can honor myself. You know, I get chemicals are out of our house. I'm honoring myself with everything that I use. And it's about being authentically you know, and honoring. And the minute you start valuing yourself, others will begin to value you too. You send that's the energy. You know, we talked about the Heart Map Institute research, heart resonance, that what you feel in your heart resonates out about 3 feet from you. So as it's resonating out, that's what people step into. That's how they begin to treat you. So you've got to start treating yourself first as a valuable, worthy human being, having an experience at the moment. And sometimes it's going to take a while to get through this. I can't guarantee you're going to fix it overnight. In fact, you're not. As Helen just said, it's a life journey. We're learning all the time, but it's getting into that habit of catching yourself when you go into that old story. Catching yourself. What is this old story I am telling myself? And why am I giving myself permission to do this? Why am I giving myself permission to do this? And that was a big aha for me. I'm giving myself permission to speak to myself in an appalling manner. I wouldn't look at, I wouldn't talk to my children like that. I wouldn't talk to my friends like that. I was treating myself as I'm a failure. I know this isn't what, I'm hopeless. Maybe I'm on the wrong path. Maybe I shouldn't be doing this. Holy moly. I wouldn't have talked to my kids like that. So speak to yourself how you'd speak to children. Yeah. Okay, Stacey, cool. What meditation sites, apps, etc. would you recommend? There's a great one on YouTube, which I started with, which I loved for a long time. It's Wayne Dyer's I Am meditation. And that's a free one you can access. That was my favorite. My new favorite, which I do all the time, is Dr. Joe Dispenza's visualization meditation. I think it's about $14. I think, if I can remember. It's on his website. I love it. He's got a long one. I'm preparing for an event coming up in October. He's got a really long one, but there's a short one of about 20 minutes. I do that every morning. It's about visualizing what you want and actually stepping into it. Very, very powerful. Pull out your vision board. What's your vision board looking like at the moment? Are you looking at it every day? Is it truly honoring you? Yeah, I am. Beautiful. I meet you, Sandy. Is that vision board truly honoring you? Is it just made up of lots of pretty pictures? If it is, get rid of it. I'm just, as my clients know, I don't want pretty pictures on your vision board. I want pictures that really show what you really, really want. The book about self-care, there's the one is Denise Duffield Thomas's new one, Success. I am listening to it on Audible. I can't quite remember the name of it, but she's got a chapter right at the end which is about self-care. And she talks about this thing, if you're not honoring and valuing yourself, how can the universe, she uses the word terminology universe all the time. I prefer divine self, higher self. Because you start to honor and value yourself, your vibration lifts. So, and we know that happens, Heart Math Institute stuff, heart resonance. As you lift your self-care, you start to really honor clothes you put in your back, the food you put in your mouth, the stuff you put in your hair, the things you put on your skin. You start to value and honor all that. You're pushing your vibration up, and it works. It really, honestly works, because why do we put ourselves last all the time? Where did we find this part? Who told us to do that? Put ourselves first, because it starts to happen. And well, look, I'm going to do a little ad. I've got to share something with this. I brought this downstairs. I have to share with. I don't know if this is back to front. It's a doTERRA essentials called Root Tip Serum. One of my things this year was to really honor myself, and I've gone totally organic in everything I do. Oh, thanks, Tracy. Yeah, so she has a friend at home on Mondays and Wednesdays, or Gold Coast, ladies only. So message. Can I put the name of the book? Is that, Sandy, are you talking about? Yeah. Exactly, Janet. Sandy, the book, I think I'm going to pop it. I'll have to look at it. It's it's her latest one. You'll see it if you're on Audible, or if you hop on her website, Denise Duffield Thomas's website, you'll see it. The other one I'm reading right now, I've got 2 on the go. Rising Strong, Brene Brown. Love. This root tip serum, I'll tell you about this. It's a doTERRA oil. What a difference it made to my hair. I love it. It's got everything in peppermint, and marjoram, and cedarwood, and lavender, and rosemary. Oh, lordy, Lord. Look, I've got essential oils in my skincare at the moment. Let me know if you're interested in this, and I'll set you up on a wholesale account so you can get this at wholesale. Is there a link to Joe Dispenza Meditations? If you go to his website, Donna, just drjoedispenza.com, go to his products, and there it is there. Sandy, the self-care book, Denise Duffield Thomas's book. I don't know if I can't get it up because I don't have a keypad on my computer here. Okay, found it. Yeah. Powerful. Do it every day, sometimes twice. And when I was going through the really tough time, I was doing that twice and 3 times a day, as well as journaling. But your word for the year is the other thing. I'm all over the place this morning. It's lovely. This has been really good. What vision board I need to do a lot. Stacey, yes, absolutely. Vision board, so important. I don't have mine here. I've moved it because our cleaning lady was here yesterday. My vision board, I redid that, and on my vision board now is everything I am focused on. I have pictures that are in my mind. It was interesting earlier this year. I put on spending Christmas in Canada, and we were going to go in July, and then we're going September. And anyway, guess what? We're going Christmas in Canada. Funny thing. A couple of things I've had to change around. Yeah, identifying personal values. Yep. That's exactly perfect, Stacey. Values are so important. Find out what your personal values are. Really good. So vision board, really important. And I had to change one because some of my things came true already, which was lovely. So vision board, your word. What's your word for the year? Are you staying in your own lane? Are you staying in your own lane? And what is it? Stacey just alluded to that a little bit, your personal values. What is it you really want? Stop living in somebody else's dream. It's one of the things I've learned over this time, in this last period of time, is there's enough for everybody. Funny that. Just because someone else is successful doesn't mean you can't be too. And if someone else goes off to be successful, bless them and wish them well, because that's their path. And you have another path. And you need to stay on that path, in that lane, to create the success that you want. Simple. But what happens is we go down their path. And as Tracy said before, we don't know what's going on in their minds. We don't know what's going on in their lives half the time. We don't know what they're having to overcome. When I did some work earlier last year with a number of women, it's your dream. Exactly. Stay tuned to your own vision. Exactly. I did this work last year in domestic violence, and it was really interesting. The women, wow, I had no idea that was going on in their world. One of the people that I worked with, for all intents and purposes, had a phenomenal, successful business, and living in fear of this man. I had no idea. So we don't know what's going on in other people's lives. All we know is what's going on in ours. So it's the story we tell ourselves all the time. The story we tell ourselves. So, my lovelies, we are way over. My lane is where the gold is. Louise, I love that. Exactly. My lane is where your gold is at. Your gold, your own gold. And look, I've got to tell you, yeah, exactly, Donna. Isn't it amazing? I just floors me. When I hear stories about that, it's like, I had no idea that was going on. Oh my gosh. So this week, stay in your lane and start the journaling, and start even today. It's Saturday or this weekend. Start decluttering stuff in your world that's really just filling up your life with stuff that doesn't honor and value who you are. We decluttered our kitchen last week. You should have seen the things I found that I've been hanging on to. Oh my gosh. Wow, what a different feel even the kitchen feels with all that clutter gone. I walk into my wardrobe now and I just love it. I stand there and go, oh gosh, what choice have I got today? Your bathroom cupboard, declutter that. What's all that old stuff hanging at the back of it that you don't honor and use anymore? Really look at how you can honor and value yourself. And it will make a huge difference to you. Yeah, to you. It's powerful. Whenever you're stuck, whenever you feel sad, whenever you feel angry, declutter something. You'll feel better. All right, my lovelies. It is 8:17. We're way over. I hope this has been powerful for you this week. I hope this week you will stop yourself. The minute, find something that catches the story you're telling yourself. And if you're going through something at the moment, give yourself permission to be brave and courageous. That's awesome. I've got to show this for those who haven't seen it. I try to declare family members like boomerangs. That is priceless. Tracy, that's priceless. Yeah, family members. Very good. All right, honor and value yourselves this week, everybody. I send you much love. This week, have a wonderful week ahead, and be brave, be courageous, and be brilliant. We shall talk next week. Bye. Thanks for making this a great Facebook Live today. You're welcome, Debbie. See you all soon. Bye.